Okay, so we are live. It is 12:22 in the morning, Saturday morning, 12:30, 2023, and we have I think one more day of this year, and then we'll be on to the next. So let me play my intro, and I'll be right back. All right, so how's everybody doing? Hi, Hybrid Pieces. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Karen. How are you all? Hope everybody's doing good. Uh, yeah, my sucks. My brother passed away. I think it was actually Christmas Day, if you can believe it. Um, but then I just Thursday was a Thursday morning, the Friday morning. I woke up feeling like dog shit. So, but I just figured I'd come on and uh, do some of the news of the week here. Is that the case with the pregnant woman and the boyfriend, Karen? Is that what you? Let me go back up here and Savannah, Matthew, and baby Adrian are in rest in peace. Yeah, I'm going to go over that, I think, and then I'm going to go over this too. There's been another body found in Ladybird Lake too. So let's. I hope everybody's doing okay. Um, I have probably more drugs in me than I could. When I get ill, I just drug. Uh, but thank you for the kind comments on my brother. Yep. So let's go here first. I'm going to go. I don't know if you got anybody you know about this Ladybird Lake in Texas case. I don't know if it's a case, but they found another body. They're not considering this to be foul play at all, but it just seems kind of weird. So I'll play this. Hold on a second.
A bar just drinking with his
Information released today is providing some insight into the death of a man whose body was found in Lady Bird Lake.
And KXAN's Jayla Washington has a look at his autopsy report.
An autopsy report found Jonathan Honey, just 33 years old, had been in a bar just drinking with his friends, eventually left to find food, and 15 hours later, police found his body here on the lake near Rainy Street.
Alcohol, amphetamine, and hydroxyzine, all found in Jonathan Honey's system after police pulled his body from Lady Bird Lake in late March, according to this toxicology report. Brandon Ching with Terrytown Pharmacy says one is a common ADHD medication. The other,
for hydroxyzine, it usually isn't your first choice, your first line of defense for either itching or sleep or anxiety. It was something that just struck me as strange because it's not the most common thing that's used out there.
the report says Honey, who did have a history of ADHD, died by accidentally drowning. Medical examiners say his body had no major injuries.
I've always thought that like accidental drowning is really bizarre, right? But I'm pretty sure people do it all the time. It's just this whole thing seems really off to me for some reason.
Alcohol does all sorts of things with different medications. Specifically, what we would look at is the hydroxyzine, when mixed with alcohol, could lead to extra, sedation, being really tired. Sometimes it can even cause confusion or decrease someone's cognitive ability.
Now, of course, we did try to get in contact with Honey's family, and no luck so far, but keep in mind, he is just one of at least 5 people to die out on the lake just this year. I'm reporting downtown, Jayla Washington, KXAN News.
Right now on KXAN.com, we have a map of all the bodies found in Lady Bird Lake over the last year with details on how they were found and how they're being investigated currently.
All right, so I think I'm still up here. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, so these are the victims here, or I don't know if I want to say victims because I don't think they're definitely suspicious, but I don't know if they're, like I said, considering these to be homicides, that's for sure. 5 bodies have been found in Lady Bird Lake since in 2023. That was as of June 30th, so count this one as a new one. And you can see here, accidental drowning, no foul play or suspicious circumstances involved. So they're not considering this to be an issue. But let's go here. I'm not going to watch all of this, but we'll check into this here too. Hold on a second. Because I think this is like an hour long here. This is coming from Law and Crime Network here.
Knees. The authorities reassured the locals that there was nothing to worry about and that this
When it is this hot
in Austin, Texas, when the body of a respected member in the community was spotted floating near the shore. When the lifeless man was pulled from the water, officers found that his hands and feet were bound. There was also talk among locals that the man's head was wrapped in duct tape. Yet, even with these details, the victim's death was still ruled as self-induced. Residents of the area were left grappling with a mix of grief, confusion, and an unshakable sense of unease. The authorities reassured the locals that there was nothing to worry about and that this was simply a tragic accident. But when more men started to die in different but no less inexplicable circumstances, officials regurgitated the same explanation to keep the community's mind at ease. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a sinister pattern that would grip Austin residents for years to come. As a matter of fact, it's gripping Austin tighter than ever before, right now.
Let me get how many people think that this is accidental or something else? I think it's just strange. It's just really bizarre.
While the whispers of a lurking
They do the serial killer in Austin ? Right?
Serial killer have finally come out of the shadows and into the light, the locals who are living on what might be a monster's hunting ground are left with little they can do except continue to beg authorities to investigate the cases further. But it seems like their calls for action are repeatedly dismissed as mere coincidence. The police insist that there's no concrete evidence linking the deaths together beyond their shared location, and They argue that what appears to be a web of darkness is, in reality, just a series of horrible but unrelated incidents, a collection of isolated tragedies that defy explanation. But in recent months, the number of fatalities on the lake has risen at an alarming rate, and it's become increasingly difficult to deny the similarities. The same community which was told there was nothing to fear is now left wondering. Is there more to these deaths than the authorities are letting on? Is there a serial killer on the loose in Austin, Texas? And could the presence of a chilling signature link the victims to a spate of killings which began in 1997? With the evidence pointing to at least the possibility of a connection between the victims, why do the local authorities refuse to acknowledge that the deaths might be related? We're going to talk about what we know and what I've found. I'm Mr. Black, and this is the disturbing truth.
Just so weird. So, okay, let's let me get out of this for a second. And let me share this one here. So this is the area here. This is Austin, Texas here. This is Lady Bird Lake here. And I just did a little bit of research here. Population in Austin, Texas is about, I don't know, almost 1,964,000. It's a lot of people. So, and that's just Austin. So, you know, the surrounding towns and stuff like that. So this is a busy place. And here's some pictures of the lake. So you would think that there's probably, I don't know how many regular types of drownings they have there every year. Okay, so I'll go back to this. I just wanted to show everybody the lake. Let's see here. I have way too many screens open.
Lady Bird Lake is located in the heart of Austin, Texas.
The good news is I think I broke my fever about an hour ago, but
The state's capital city. It's a man-made body of water which was formed when a dam was built, and its original purpose was to serve as a reservoir to cool down the local power plant, which is no longer in operation. Lady Bird Lake stretches along the Colorado River with its northern boundary near downtown Austin, and it's easily accessible to residents and visitors alike. Lady Bird Lake was once called Town Lake until the city council renamed it in 2007 in honor of our former First Lady, Claudia Johnson, who was known by her nickname, Lady Bird. Claudia was devoted to beautifying the city of Austin, and she put a lot of time into improving the area around Town Lake, which was in desperate need of attention. While the lake holds a commanding position in the center of the city, before Claudia got involved, its shoreline was described as an eyesore. Years of untamed weeds, overgrown bushes, and rubbish littered the region until Miss Johnson pushed for city funding to transform the area surrounding the lake. She supported a major cleanup as well as the establishment of hiking and biking trails to connect the various water access points. Nowadays, there's a popular 10-mile trail loop which circles the whole lake, as well as various inlets and reserves dotted along the shoreline which provide a sanctuary for protected wildlife. Exploring the shoreline also offers breathtaking city views which are perfectly framed by the broad sky above the ripples of the lake's surface below. With its beautiful waters and scenic surroundings, Lady Bird Lake offers a peaceful reprieve from the bustling city surrounding it. But while the calm waters hold endless appeal to residents, there's been no swimming allowed in Lady Bird Lake since 1964. And if you listen to the rumors, you might believe that the ban is due to poor water quality caused by runoff from city streets, or that building the dam left dangerous materials littered along the lake bed. But the reality of the swimming ban is much darker. Despite its quaint name and serene appeal, Lady Bird Lake has a much more sinister reputation. Right back.
all right, so let's get out of this here, and then I'll go to this here because this is the one that I wanted to show here. Give me a second. Okay, so this is the one that this came out in April. So
Hello, everyone. I'm Amanda Salinas, and thanks for watching this Crime Watch YouTube exclusive, where we take a look at recent crime stories making headlines in our area. Is there a serial killer in Austin? People from across the country are asking that question after 4 bodies have been found in Lady Bird Lake during the last 2 months, even more over the last decade. Police say there is no serial killer, and they don't.
hello, Dandy. How are you? Good to have you here. Hey, Dean, how's it going? Good to see everybody in here. Just going over this. They found another body in the lake here, Lady Bird Lake. So I'm just going over this here.
Suspect foul play. But internet sleuths are hard at work. Fox 7 Austin's Amanda Ruiz spoke with Austin Police Chief to get some clarity.
In the last 2 months, 4 bodies were found in Lady Bird Lake near Rainey Street. 30-year-old Jason John's body was found on February 13th. The body of 40-year-old Clifton Axtell was found on March 5th. 33-year-old Jonathan Honey found on April 1st. And most recently, 30-year-old John Christopher Hayes Clark found on April 15th.
Our initial information doesn't show anything suspicious.
But despite police repeatedly saying no foul play is suspected, rumors continue to swirl of a potential serial killer in Austin. One media report even calling it the Rainey Street Ripper. A Facebook page called Lady Bird Lake Serial Killer currently has over 71,000 followers. Posts are made on almost a daily basis with theories and claims that support the idea of a serial killer. The posters coming to their own conclusions based on the number of bodies found in the lake. One user writing, quote, "Just admit there is a whole serial killer here already." Another writing, quote, "I've always thought it was a copycat of the smiley face killer." And, quote, "APD still saying there's no evidence of a serial killer?"
Nothing has come to light that would indicate that there is a serial killer in.
So the strange thing is, on average, right? I just looked this up. 4,012 unintentional drowning deaths happen each year, and this was a statistic done, a while back, 2011 to 2020. So that's an average of, I forget how much that is. So that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot more than people would normally think, right? So more than half of fatal and not fatal drownings among people 15 years or older occur in natural waters, so it's a lot, much less than swimming pools. So
Austin
Police Chief Joseph Chacon says he knows about the rumors and says they're just not true.
I realize that there is a rampant rumor about a potential serial killer here in Austin. We found no evidence of that.
Chief Chacon adds these deaths aren't anything out of the ordinary.
It's tragic. It's a horrible circumstance that we have these.
He says people have died in the lake every year for a long period of time.
And so some of them are accidental. Unfortunately, some of them are also suicide.
He says APD will continue to investigate each case as they come and says if anything changes, the public will know.
And when
they must have statistics on how many people do drown in that lake every year. So that's probably why they're not too concerned. But if they keep piling up,
we can, and when it's appropriate to draw conclusions that some of them might be related, we would be passing that information along to the public very promptly.
Amanda Ruiz, Fox 7 Austin News.
While police say there's no indication of foul play, the public continues to have concerns about safety on Rainey Street improvements, despite the fact that there have been improvements there. Though it wasn't on the agenda, residents spoke up during Austin's recent Public Safety Committee meeting. Fox 7 Austin's Chris Alemko has the story.
My name is Tara. I'm the partner of Jason John, whose body was pulled out of Lady Bird Lake 2 months ago.
I'm also a friend of Jason John's. I'm calling to speak about the safety measures on the trail.
Rainey Street safety wasn't on Monday's Public Safety Committee meeting agenda, but it was the main topic of conversation during public comment.
Since the last time we spoke, once again, another body has been pulled out of Lady Bird Lake. I don't know how we can speed this up to put in the requests to get these to stop.
While efforts for permanent safety improvement.
It's just so weird that they just keep piling up like this. But, they do happen. You know, it's not like they don't. People drown all the time, I guess. So.
Improvements to the trail are underway. Temporary lighting and fencing has been installed. But many saying it's not enough or not moving fast enough.
I've been bartending on Rainy Street since I moved here. There have been limited lights put up, no cameras, no efficient patrolling, limited fencing around the problematic areas around the lake.
When I went by the trail at night, right where Jason would have been last seen, it was still extremely dark.
The limited light.
And these are all mostly guys, right? Pretty sure these are mostly males that are being found.
Lighting was something we experienced. We had a camera on Rainy this weekend during the early morning hours.
Please expedite the processes of cameras and emergency blue lights. Promises are being made and measures are being passed, but it's really just taking too long. I would really advocate for progress over perfection, because the more time that's spent figuring out what the right solution is and analyzing and getting everything in order is just more time for another life to be lost.
It's absolutely heartbreaking to listen week after week. The families who've lost loved ones on Rainy Street.
The most recent update on safety efforts came Thursday. The city manager sharing with council the status of a, quote, interim pedestrian safety plan. As part of that plan last week, a consultant group walked the trail at night and drafted recommendations for permanent improvements.
I know.
It's just I'll keep an eye on it. It's just weird how they found another one and everybody's kind of pointing towards some sort of a serial killer, but the police aren't buying it. So I don't know what to tell you. It's weird. It's just weird. All right, so we're gonna go back to let's see here. I want to cover this too, because this has been in the news the last couple of days for sure. So this is the information on Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerrera. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Appreciate it. It's been raining here for the last 6 days. It's just absolutely horrible. All right, so this is new information on Savannah Soto. This is the pregnant woman and her boyfriend, husband. We have uncovered new details about the case of a couple found dead in a vehicle Tuesday afternoon. The details shedding light on why San Antonio police officials, why does everything happen in Texas? Were at first seemingly vague about the nature of the investigation into the couple's unaliving. So here's, this was done, when was this done? This was done yesterday, I think. All right, so let's go.
Continue to follow yesterday's tragic in the search for missing mother-to-be Savannah Soto. Savannah and her boyfriend were both found dead late Tuesday afternoon. Tonight, the medical examiner's office confirming one of the bodies belonging to 22-year-old Matthew Guerra. We did reach out to SAPD today for new updates on this case, and all they would tell us is that the investigation remains ongoing. So here's what we know right now as well. Savannah was last seen on Friday at her apartment complex off of Grissom Road in Leon Valley. She was reported missing on Saturday when she didn't show up to be induced at a local hospital. Savannah's family held a vigil on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's just been really weird. Like usually right around Christmas time, just it starts to get cold and you usually have a little bit of snow, but it's been like, it doesn't even have a chance to snow here. The temperatures have been way up for here anyways. And it's just been, and I don't deal really good with rain in the wintertime anyways. It just fucks with my lungs.
Day pleading for police and the public to help find her. Then on Tuesday, Savannah's sister-in-law, Joni Wassel, received a tip on the location of the car Savannah was last seen in. When she arrived at that car's location, she found two bodies inside with gunshot wounds. Also telling us the bodies were that of Savannah and her 22-year-old boyfriend, Matthew. The medical examiner has yet to confirm her identity or the cause of death, but police have told us.
Look at the size of this guy. Holy shit. This guy's freaking huge.
Confirm her identity or the cause.
Look at him. This guy's got to be 6'8". This guy has to have been a football player before. Look at him. He's bigger than this car is.
cause of death, but police have told us that the woman's unborn baby sadly also died. SAPD now investigating it as a capital murder case. The News 4 I-Team has learned exclusive new details about this case that potentially help explain.
Hey, Marv, how are you? Good to see you, Marv. Marv's here. Did you see that cop? He was huge.
And why police have been so vague about what type of investigation they have on their hands. The I-Team's Mariah Medina has all these details for us tonight. Mariah?
That's right. Law enforcement sources tell me that San Antonio police didn't find a firearm or the cell phone of Savannah Soto's boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, in the car that the pair were found in Tuesday afternoon. Sources also sharing that Guerra's body was found in the back seat of the vehicle, while Soto was in the front passenger seat with a child carrier on her lap. I talked to Guerra's family, who tell me everything that they did to find the expectant parents and frustrations with that process.
But once it was like the 2:30 p.m. mark, we started panicking.
Panicked and nonstop calling and racing home, racing over there, and
calling police.
Gabriel and Raquel
This has got to suck, right?
Guerra say they called 911 when they sensed their son and his girlfriend were in trouble. The husband and wife, who live in Bexar County, initially tried to file missing persons reports with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. Soto's family, who live in San Antonio, tried to file with San Antonio Police. But because Guerra and Soto lived in Leon Valley, the report had to be taken by Leon Valley Police.
I was told that they were trying to get 3 agencies, all the information they had, and combine them into one report.
As this was happening, Gabriel says he was racing to his son's apartment, kicking down the door after he didn't get an answer, fearing the worst.
The candle.
The candle was on.
That was another sign that they had a candle on.
Gabriel says the lit candle and Savannah's diaper bag being left behind told them something was wrong.
I mean, that cop was bigger than Rex Heuermann, and that's big.
House, he says, showing no signs of a struggle. Gabriel says he asked the Leon Valley police detective assigned to the case if they could track his son's cell phone location. He says a detective told him it was unlikely a judge would grant a warrant for that because there weren't exigent circumstances.
He basically said they're adults. If they want to disappear, they can disappear. And again, I reminded him, the baby's overdue. It's been overdue. They missed their due date, and to me, that's a life-threatening. There should have been more urgency.
We reached out to the Leon Valley detective assigned to the missing persons case to see if a warrant was ever sought. The detective replied that he was instructed by the Leon Valley chief of police to direct questions about the investigation to San Antonio police. He stated that he was not authorized to make any further comments.
I never knew a pain like this existed. You hear about a parent losing a child, and you're like, man, I can't imagine what they're going through. It's exactly how it is. You can't imagine it.
The couple, expected to become first-time grandparents this holiday season, now mourning a son, a grandson, and their would-be grandson's mother.
I just hope we can get to the bottom of this and justice be served, because I just can't fathom how anybody could do that to a pregnant woman. I just can't get that out of my head.
While Soto's murder would be considered capital murder under Texas law because she was pregnant, San Antonio police shared a synopsis which lists Guerra, Soto, as well as her unborn son as victims, apparently signaling law enforcement's belief that both Guerra and Soto were murdered. For the News 4 I-Team, I'm Mariah Medina.
Tonight, the family of Savannah Soto is talking about their devastating loss. News 4 San Antonio's Amanda Henderson spoke with them a bit earlier today at a place that already represents the loss that they've experienced.
Kenwood Park holds so much meaning for the Soto family.
Yeah, this here was done on the 28th, so I'll kind of chronologically go through the last couple of days in this here.
Right, we laugh.
This is just awful.
Think about the good time, the sad time.
Rachel Soto finds herself here today with us, thinking of and talking about another sad time. We sit at a bench dedicated to her 15-year-old grandson, Ethan Soto. He was killed last year. Now Rachel is here talking about the loss of his sister, her granddaughter, Savannah Soto.
I think I'm going to get up on my nightmare and Mika's going to be there. I didn't think I was going to go through this again, and here I am again.
Savannah and her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, were found dead yesterday in a Kia Optima at a Northwest apartment complex. The discovery brought a tragic end to a search for the missing mother-to-be. It was set to be induced last Saturday.
She was looking forward to being a mom for the first
That's what I mean. There's just so many cases that are going on right now. So many different cases.
time.
Police say the unborn child died as well.
And I just wish at least I would have been able to see him and hold him, but I'll never have that privilege of doing that. What much more do I need to lose?
One day after Savannah and Matthew's bodies were found, Rachel says they're left with questions, especially as they don't know if the mother-to-be had any connections to the apartment complex where the car was found.
But if there is somebody on the run, you have a conscience. Do the right thing and turn yourself in.
Rachel is working with Pamela Allen and Eagles Flight to put together a vigil for Savannah and her unborn child.
I've heard the cries of so many moms and grandmas, and it still shakes us, the soul to hear those cries.
Their cries, Rachel says she is experiencing for a second time, finding strength through prayer and Ethan's tree, which will soon also honor more of the Soto family.
And I know eventually we'll be adding something else there. She had seven brothers, and she was the only girl. She was
Wow.
the only girl. She was everything. She was everything.
Reporting in San Antonio, I'm Amanda Henderson.
Matthew Guerra's family also grieving tonight, not only for his loss.
Hey, Mackie, how are you? Thanks for coming in. Mackie's here. Yeah, this is horrible. This is absolutely. There's just too many cases. Like Marv is here too. It's just, every day it seems like there's a new case. It's just terrible. Just absolutely horrible.
Loss, but for Savannah and their unborn child.
He's freaking tall.
As News 4 San Antonio, Stephanie Esquivel explains, Matthew's father and stepmother don't believe he was capable of hurting them.
Those are Savannah's and Matthew's and baby Fabian's.
Presents under the Christmas tree, serving as a reminder of the tragic loss of a growing family.
We still can't believe we're just never going to be here.
Matthew's father, Gabriel Guerra, says the young couple was anxiously awaiting their baby's arrival.
We had to remind them on the baby shower to let Savannah open some of the gifts. Matthew was open.
Well, technically, this is a triple homicide, right?
And all the gifts, so they were definitely both happy and excited.
On Saturday afternoon, when no one had heard from Savannah or Matthew, Gabriel kicked in their apartment door in hopes of finding clues.
That's when I saw Savannah's overnight bag that she had packed for the hospital that she didn't have with her, and that even threw me more.
Isn't that kind of cute that I figured out how to do this ticker thing? It's too funny.
Panic.
Gabriel knows Matthew was arrested in 2022 for domestic abuse against Savannah and even suggested Matthew stay in custody longer.
They had contacted each other on the phone, and that was a violation, so they can please keep him in there. And unfortunately, it would have to be Savannah to say that, and she wouldn't do it, so eventually he was let out.
Domestic abuse charges were never filed again. Gabriel and his wife Raquel say the couple was inseparable and seemed happy. That's why they don't believe Matthew could have hurt Savannah, but they want to find who did.
It's got to be something personal. I mean, I don't know what kind of person could do that to a pregnant individual.
Stephanie Esquivel, News 4 San Antonio.
Okay, so let's do this one here.
We want to go out to San Antonio, Texas next, where we're getting new information from police after a pregnant teen who had been missing since Friday was found dead on Tuesday in San Antonio, along with her boyfriend. Family confirming that 18-year-old Savannah Soto and her boyfriend were found dead in a car at some medical apartments located in San Antonio. Soto was 9 months pregnant and a week past her due date, according to her family. Now we're hearing from San Antonio police.
I hope everybody had a great Christmas. Hope everybody got what they wanted.
He says they've put this out on X earlier today, saying that anyone with information on this dark-colored pickup truck with a bed cover or the two persons.
Okay, so anyone with any information on dark-colored pickup truck with a bed cover or the two persons of interest seen in this video.
of interest seen in this video is encouraged to contact authorities. You can also remain anonymous when providing information in this case. But you'll remember during that news conference on Tuesday, as we brought it to you live, police described this case as very perplexing. And so we're starting to learn a little bit more and more about it. But you can see this truck that they're referring to here, as well as two individuals at the beginning of the clip. So they're really trying to get a lot of information here as to what happened.
They probably would have already figured that out, right? If this was a murder-suicide, they probably would have already called that. But you never know. But these two people right here, this vehicle is, yeah.
In this interaction between the two vehicles. Of course, this comes after the tragic news that both were found dead on Tuesday. And police also implied at the time that they may have been there for several days before they were located. So let's bring you out to this update from San Antonio Police as they spoke this afternoon.
Hello, CJK. How are you? Yes, thank you very much, CJK. I appreciate all the kind words. It's been a tough week.
Over it again anyway, briefly. Because this is an open investigation, I'm not going to answer questions unless it's to confirm something I've just said, but I'm not going to answer questions that may get into the details of the investigation. So first of all, I want to extend condolences to the families of both Savannah and Matthew. I also want to reassure them that detectives are doing everything that they can do to solve this case.
Right, that's what I think. I think that this is probably some sort of, I don't know, maybe wrong place at the wrong time. But I don't think that he had anything to do with it.
Savannah Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guetta were reported missing by Leon Valley on 12/23/23. A clear alert was issued for Savannah by
In this image, she looked like she was ready to go here anytime. I don't know how. Does anybody know how far along she was? She looks pretty good there. She looks like I don't know, 7-8 months. Probably.
EPS because it met the criteria for a clear alert to be issued. CLEAR stands for the state's Coordinated Law Enforcement Adult Rescue Alert Program. Families of both victims reached out to SAPD on the 23rd to make a police report, but we had learned.
Thank you, Marv.
That Leon Valley had already taken a missing person report. Savannah and Matthew resided in Leon Valley's jurisdiction, and were last seen in Leon Valley. Therefore,
Oh, that sucks. She was 1 week overdue, so she would have been induced. Yeah, I don't think they let him go more than 2 weeks now. So that sucks. Oh.
Leon Valley was the reporting jurisdiction. Officers did document details provided by the family members under an SAPD information report. On the 26th at about 4 o'clock, SAPD was called to assist Leon Valley PD at 5903 Danny K. Leon Valley was requesting assistance. Families of both victims were at the location and reported to Leon Valley PD that earlier in the day, they received information that the missing gray Kia Optima was at the Danny K address. When police arrived, they discovered 2 people in the Kia. EMS was called to the scene and they pronounced both victims at the scene. It appeared that the vehicle had been located at that location for several days. The medical examiner had identified 22-year-old Matthew as one of the deceased victims in the vehicle, and he died from a gunshot wound to the head. The manner of that death is still pending. The second deceased victim has not yet been officially identified by the medical examiner. However, I think we can be confident that that second victim was Savannah. This case is being investigated as a capital murder case. Detectives right now are combing through days of surveillance video from several different locations that the victims were known to be, where the victims were known to be. Detectives are hopeful that surveillance video will lead to the events leading up to their death. Detectives are also combing through social media and cell phone records to determine the last communications with the victims. We have a video here that we're going to share with you. We have already put it out on social media. You may have already seen it, but we're going to run this video here today. We are hoping that someone is able to identify the individuals that are seen in this video.
Yeah, to me, that's what this sounds like. It sounds to me like a drug hit for some reason, or retaliation for sure.
If anyone has any information regarding what they may see in this video, I would ask that you call homicide on 207-7635. You can remain anonymous. You do not have to give your name. The video was taken from a nearby location where the bodies were located. And finally,
it just sucks how somebody could be so cold-hearted to do this. It just absolutely, it's a freaking horrible. Just absolutely horrible.
Finally, here is a slowed down image of the first person of interest getting out.
I mean, what did she do? You know, like, it's just awful.
Of the Chevy Silverado that is seen next to the Kia. And then here's another, there'll be another slowed down image of the second person of interest getting out of the victim's Kia Optima. Once you've looked at the video, I will take a few questions. Again, only to clarify what I've said, if you're not quite sure about it, but I will not take questions other than what I've just talked about because the investigation is still active.
Chief, you said that ME said that for Matthew Guerra, it was a gunshot wound to the head, but when we called them, they said it's a contact gunshot wound. What does that mean?
It means that it was there. When we talk about the manner of death has not been determined, the manner meaning, was it a suicide or was it a murder? So that's what the ME has yet to officially put out.
So there's a possibility that this could be a murder-suicide.
That possibility exists, but right now we don't believe so unless we get information from the ME that would change our current course.
You don't believe so, and I wonder the callousness of all this. What is your message to the person or persons who may have committed this?
You know, somebody asked me that the other night, and I don't know what value that adds to this interview, what message I would put out. I mean, clearly, it was a heinous act. It was, you know, unspeakable, the tragedy of it.
There's always somebody, you know, it just seems like there's always that one reporter that just loves to ask the most dumbest question ever.
I mean, what message would I give to those folks? I mean, I don't see what the value of that question is, but anyway.
And just to clarify, you were treating this as a homicide for both.
I mean, the cops here are trying to investigate a homicide. I mean, what message do you want to, I mean, some people are just dumb.
Both people.
It is a capital murder investigation.
For both victims.
Yes, right now, unless we get information that changes that.
And Chief, when was this surveillance video? Is this one from the 26th?
Say it again?
Where and when was this surveillance video taken?
A few days before.
Yeah.
The bodies were discovered.
And where was this? What's the address of this area?
Where what?
What's that? Is this where the bodies were discovered?
I mean, these are reporters, right? They go like, that's the question you're going to ask, right? Good Lord.
Very close to it, yes.
I do see, I believe he is handing something to the driver of the pickup truck. Do we know anything about?
I mean, that's what we're looking at. What we believe right now, it was something to wipe the side of the car down with. You know, we can't be 100% certain of that, but that's what we're studying in this video, and that's what we believe right now.
And do we believe that these people may have any links of some sort? Do we know what links they have?
I don't know that, and again, would be part of the investigation.
So just to be clear, the vehicle, the Kia Optima, that's the vehicle that they were found in.
Yes,
But the person that's getting out of the vehicle, you're saying out of the Kia Optima, is there somebody that gets out of that vehicle that you're trying
yes.
I'm telling you, watch every police press conference, and there's always there's just that one person who just steps up and says the dumbest thing. You can just wait for it. Somebody is just waiting to ask the dumbest question.
Yes.
And you don't believe it to be either Matthew?
No.
So
Correct.
do you all believe that they were shot, the killings happened somewhere else and they drove the car and dumped it?
Well, again, I don't want to get into the details other than what I've talked about here today. So the answer to that question would be yes. But other than that, again, I'm not going to answer questions that are outside of what I just talked about.
All right, so the police chief here in San Antonio getting right to the point with these updates they're providing at today's news conference regarding the death of Savannah Soto and her boyfriend, the pregnant teenager and her boyfriend who were found dead in San Antonio on.
So it's a capital murder case. So obviously it's not, I don't think that they would do that if it was a murder-suicide unless he was in on it and it just went bad.
Tuesday this week, the big piece of information here that police are talking about, again, is this video that they released on X showing a vehicle of interest, this truck that you see off in the distance of this video that is next to this car. And there's two individuals that get near the car close by, believed to have Savannah and her boyfriend inside. And so this is the big info that they're hoping the public might be able to assist with right now. Wanted to bring you that update out of San Antonio, Texas, especially as we're learning a little bit more about the investigation, as they're calling it a capital murder investigation too. So we'll continue to keep you updated here.
Okay, so I think that's done. Let me let's do this one here.
I mean, clearly, it was a heinous act. It was, unspeakable, the tragedy of it.
It's a story getting nationwide attention, and tonight we're learning new information on the capital murder.
It's like you're gonna put that in your paper, right? You're gonna you're asking these questions because they're gonna go in your daily paper or whatever. And if you ask a stupid question, I don't know, like how you're gonna put that in print, right? Like it'd be like a disclaimer, like I just asked the stupidest question I could have ever. Instead of asking something important, I asked the dumbest question. That's what we got for a story.
Case of 18-year-old Savannah Soto and her boyfriend Matthew Guerra. The couple was found dead with gunshot wounds in their car at a Northwest Side apartment complex on Tuesday. The medical examiner ruling both deaths as homicides. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Avila. San Antonio Police today provided an update along with new surveillance video showing persons of interest as News 4.
Hello, Miracle Hearts. How are you? We're just going over this unaliving of the mother and the couple down there in Texas.
San Antonio Stephanie Esquivel reports SAPD is now asking for the public's
So I'm right. It was her boyfriend and not her husband.
Help to locate two people who they say could have something to do with Savannah and Matthew's deaths.
We are hoping that someone is able to identify the individuals that are seen in this video.
The San Antonio Police Department putting out a plea for the public's help to find the two people
So this one was done 14 hours ago. So I think this could be the latest.
seen in new video released today. Detectives believe they could be involved in Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra's deaths.
Detectives are hopeful that surveillance video will lead to the events leading up to their death.
Police believe Savannah and Matthew were already dead when this video was taken. They think the two people seen in the footage wiped the car down to get rid of fingerprints before ditching it with Savannah and Matthew's.
Hold on a second. I want to see that again. Talking too much here.
It with Savannah and Matthew's bodies inside.
Detectives are also combing through.
Ditching it with Savannah and Matthew's. Get rid of fingerprints. Fingerprints before ditching it with Savannah and Matthew's bodies inside.
Detectives are
That was weird, right?
also combing through social media and cell phone records to determine the last communications with the victims.
The relationship between these persons of interest and victims is still unclear. Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez says when the people responsible are captured, the nature of the crime can result in additional charges because of the young couple's unborn son, Fabian.
Under Texas law, that qualifies an unborn child during any period of gestation is a person under the Texas Penal Code for consideration in deciding whether or not to.
Yeah, that's what I took from that too, Marv, that they were probably gone before the video was taken.
Calculate, for example, more than one person.
District Attorney Gonzalez also hoping these people are found so his office can bring justice for the victims and their families.
That we were going to do everything.
I mean, I'm putting this at like 80% drug related. That's where I am at this right now. I could be wrong, but from the information I've gathered, this is definitely, in my opinion anyway, some sort of a drug thing.
Humanly possible to hold this individual or individuals accountable.
Stephanie Escobar, News 4, San Antonio.
Earlier this evening, friends and family of Savannah Soto gathered for a vigil to honor the 18-year-old and her unborn baby. More than 100 people showed up at Kenwood Park on the north side. As the search for answers continue, the family released balloons and doves as their daughter now joins their 15-year-old son, Ethan, who was killed in a shooting back in 2022.
She is in a better place with her brother Ethan, but our lives will never be the same.
Soto's grandmother saying the only thing they want now is justice as they recover from this tragic loss.
Instead of us having this vigil right now, we should be celebrating her birth, the birth of her son. We can't do that anymore. You know, if she suffered, don't know if she suffered. Don't know what her thoughts were. Don't know if she was yelling, if she was screaming. I don't know, and we'll never know. All I want for my granddaughter is justice.
A verified GoFundMe
But we
account
would
has
like
now
to-
been created to raise money for funerals of Soto and her unborn child. We have the link at our website if you would like to donate. And we will continue to follow this story to bring you the latest developments. You can also get updates on news4sa.com, our social media pages, and our News 4 mobile app. You can download it by searching WOAI at your app store.
All right, so let's get out of this one here. And what's this here? Okay, so I think this is the actual latest right here. I could be wrong, but and then we'll go to the Idaho thing.
Of a pregnant woman and her boyfriend. This as San Antonio police continue their search for two persons of interest seen in this surveillance video. Police.
This, to me, this whole thing right here looks like some sort of a interaction, a drug deal.
Chief William McManus says this video was taken in the days leading up to the discovery of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra's bodies. KENS 5 reporter Megan Reyna has been following this story for us from the start. She joins us live now with what she's uncovered. Megan.
Well, unfortunately, we're not getting much information from police today. We've reached out several times. They say they have no new details on this investigation. But earlier, I reached out to Matthew Guerra's father, spoke with him. He says just yesterday, a detective on this case told him that they did not find a gun or phones inside the vehicle where Matthew and Savannah Soto were discovered. But if you recall, yesterday, the police chief, William McManus, said during the press conference he didn't rule out
I hope everybody's doing well.
murder-suicide. But late last night, the medical examiner did confirm that Matthew's death was a homicide. We want to again show you that surveillance video that was released by police yesterday. Now,
You got the car pulling up here.
it shows a driver in a truck approaching the same Kia Optima where police found Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra shot to death. Now, this video is near the same spot where they were discovered at an apartment complex in the Med Center. You can also see a second person of interest get out of the Kia, followed by the driver of the truck who had something in his hand.
That's another big guy. I mean, this guy here is absolutely huge.
Now, yesterday when this video came out, I was able to speak with Savannah Soto's grandmother, who is just hoping that this can lead to justice for this family.
And I hope they get what they get, because my granddaughter did not deserve to go that way. She was too precious. Life was too precious for her.
And right behind me, we're at the park where the memorial is set up for Savannah Soto, and there's actually still family out here right
Hey, Heather Brown, how are you? Hope you're well. Good to see you.
now as they just process this tragedy. And we know, what speaking to Matthew's father earlier, that they are starting to plan his funeral. They started planning it today, and they're hoping to plan a vigil as well. If you would like to help both of these families, we have GoFundMe's on our website, KENS5.com. Reporting live from the north side, Megan Reyna, KENS 5.
Yeah, that's a little weird too. I don't know. I just think it's I think it's a little weird that all right, so let's we're gonna go to the Idaho thing where they finally demolished that house there. Let's see here. I just had it too. I don't think we're going to watch this whole thing, but let's go here. Running, not funding. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, I'm going to get out of that one and go to this one here because that one's obviously not the right one that I wanted. So hold on a second. Go here. Technical difficulties here. Give me a second. We'll do this one here.
The victims wanted the structure preserved. Here's Dana Griffin with the story.
Within hours,
Now to the demolition of a house in Idaho where 4 university students were brutally murdered, and why some of the parents of the victims wanted the structure preserved. Here's Dana Griffin with the story.
Within hours, the University of Idaho demolished the home where Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez were stabbed to death.
You know, it's nice to see the house come down.
2 victims' families pleaded with the university and prosecutor's office to halt the demolition until after the trial, saying it could still be relevant to the jury. The court
If this wasn't one of the biggest controversies in true crime right here, I don't know what is.
has yet to set a date for that trial. The prosecution argues that they've already collected measurements for any possible exhibits, and due to Idaho code, a jury walkthrough wouldn't be authorized.
Getting rid of this daily reminder of the horrific event that happened here is a relief and a step in healing.
The university acknowledging security concerns and the $700 daily fee to protect the property factored into their decision. Prosecutors have requested a 6-week summer trial date in the death penalty case. Legal experts believe the defense will seek a venue transfer to a larger city with a larger jury pool.
How much does that disrupt the timeline of getting to trial?
That shouldn't change things. In fact, that might speed things up a little bit because you get a larger jury pool. You might be able to find a jury faster.
And away from this small town, still healing from the brutal murders. Dana Griffin, NBC News.
Okay, so that's that. This is what I wanted to do here. So they're destroying the house, and that's causing a lot of people to go nuts about that whole thing. But we'll see if they need it the trial. I think they're going to find him guilty anyways. It's just my personal opinion. I don't think he can hide forever. He's just literally a piece of shit. All right, so let's go here, and then I'm going to get out of here. Okay, so we're going to dub this as the top 10 most notorious defendants of 2023, since it's almost 2024, if you can believe it. And I'll turn the volume down here a little bit because it's really loud.
Hello and welcome to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae.
And I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott. Thank you for joining us. The evidence was overwhelming from the start, but we couldn't stop watching as these defendants fought their cases tooth and nail. From dangerous narcissists to cold-blooded killers, they prey.
I mean, in my opinion, he is so guilty. Like, it's just not even close, but that's just me. And everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but I think he's pretty guilty.
Upon the most vulnerable among us and made the decision to take their chances in a courtroom and go to trial.
For the next 2 hours, we are breaking down the top 10 most notorious defendants of 2023, rewatching some of the bombshell moments that cemented their cases in true crime history. Who's going to make the list? Watch along with us. Court TV Live starts now.
Coming in at number 10 on our list is a so-called vigilante who took the witness stand to defend her actions after she gunned down an elderly man having a diabetic episode.
Eyewitness after eyewitness recalled the moment the defendant angrily approached a subdued victim in his car before a single gunshot was fired from within the car window where the two had been struggling.
Here with her side of the story is our number 10 most notorious defendant.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that the college there had everything to do with taking down that house. That the community wanted that house down because they didn't want it to be a sore thumb in the community. But what are you gonna do?
Hannah Payne.
We were kind of just standing there waiting for the police to arrive, and the other gentleman who had witnessed it walked over to us. And he introduced himself and said that he was a state officer, and he flashed his badge. Me and the truck driver were curious because we didn't know what had just happened. It seemed obvious that he ran the red light. So we were asking him if he was okay and if there was something going on. And he said, he's okay, but he said he's definitely inebriated.
Are you sure that's the word he used?
I'm positive because it prompted both me and the truck driver to reply simultaneously saying, do you mean he's drunk? And at that time, the truck driver and the state officer was still standing over in the street, and he started waving me over, like calling me towards him.
Okay. And when you got close to him, what happened?
I asked him, did he go straight? And he said, yes. And he's telling me, he said, go.
So at that time, you were under the impression that he's the state officer sending you to get the tag, and 911 knows that you're on the way to get the tag.
Correct. But as I got closer, I heard him asking me, "Who the F are you?" And I told him that I was nobody, but that I had the police on the phone. And that they wanted us to go back to the original accident site. And he kept yelling at me, telling me, "I have something for you."
Marv's channel is awesome. True Crime with Marv, awesome channel.
And he used, "I have something for you." And he's leaning, and he's reaching, and he's pulling. And at this point, I remember that I'm sorry.
Take your time.
I remember that he had let go of my wrist and he grabbed me by the back of my neck. And it was as if he was trying to kind of keep a hold of me. The entire time I'm telling him, I'm thinking, I'm still have to be on the phone with the police. They have to know. I'm telling him to let me go. And that's when he hits the gas and we go forward. I'm still in the car at this point, and while it only may have been a few steps or a few feet, when you are being held against your will and you have no idea what's ahead of you, and you're looking down, it felt like it lasted forever. And I just remember it was
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
like I saw my life flash before my eyes, and I thought I was going to go down Riverdale Road.
I've been watching Marv forever. God, I've been watching Marv, Marvin Frank when it was Marvin Frank. I remember Steve being on True Crime with Marv all the time. And Randy. Yep.
Out hanging out the side of this car. I had marks on the back of my neck. And
Did anybody believe this woman?
kind of scratches along my arms, bruisings on my wrist, and scratches along my chest.
Okay. Anything in the facial area?
Yes. I had a kind of a black eye, but a bruised eye and a busted upper lip.
Back downstairs and realized that there's something downstairs I couldn't.
Number 9, Letitia Stubbs case. This woman just wouldn't shut up.
Get. I was coughing and choking and couldn't get through the smoke part. Gannon was still asleep. I just jumped on it and kept jumping on it, and Gannon was right in one of the covers. So Gannon did burn his arms. It wasn't bad, so they had bubbly spots on both sides of his arm. And I think that was from when he grabbed the cover and I was trying to grab him up. And he came down with me with the cover. And when he thought I was coming, he knocked over the candle.
Okay.
Because apparently he was playing the switch when he shouldn't have been playing it, which is fine.
Do you remember when it was that you were notified from the defendant about a rape story?
She had been beat up or whatever. And then Gannon also had been beat up. And, he talked about his burns and all that stuff as well. And then Gannon was taken by this person. That it happened in Gannon's bedroom and that she cleaned up the mess.
She gave you a statement about her allowing a man from the neighborhood that was a construction worker into the house to fix the carpet.
I think the story was she gave him the code. But yeah, somehow he got in the house.
Did she allege that that's the person that raped her in the first time that she tells the story?
Yes.
Okay.
When I walked downstairs at that original point in time, I thought that guy was the carpet guy. The next thing I know, I'm out. I hit my head on the back of Gannon's table. I remember Gannon running and jumping on the guy who I thought at the time was the carpet guy.
Is that the Mexican guy you were talking? You told me about the Mexican guy?
He was dark skinned, and I say Mexican because I assume
Tisha, you just said she. You mean he was dark skinned?
I never said she, I said he. I thought we were going to get robbed. They saw
Didn't the jury take like an hour on this? This woman was nuts. This woman is just absolutely horrible.
somebody was ran down in the road, and this dude gets in the truck with us. Anna was crying in the back seat till we threw up. He was so scared. He followed us all with us all the way back to the house. The guy was with us the whole time. I asked him, what did he want? He could take everything he wants. He could rob us. He could do whatever he wanted. Have it all. There was a struggle. Anna was asking, did I know his Uncle Matt? Because he was saying, whoever Uncle Matt was, you don't like Uncle Matt. And I was scared. What if he, Gannon, while I run up there and try to go get help? My hands were tied.
Is a countdown not to miss, because after the break, we pick up with number 8.
So she was just, she should be behind bars for sure. She's just crazy. Absolutely nuts. What she did to that kid, my God. And to lie about it 100 times.
But first, someone who probably should have made the list, a Border Patrol agent who killed his mistress and their infant love child, Ronald Burgos Aviles. He did the crime and then did a
I don't think I hate anybody more than this guy. I really don't.
police interview.
You ever ask me all these crazy things? Yes. Wait, no, sorry. Wait,
We are moving closer to trial in the case against Doomsday Prophet Chad Daybell.
Prosecutors say they will seek the death method of discipline.
In the end, the jury found him guilty of child abuse, not appropriate discipline. Take a listen to how sentencing played out for our number 8 in the most notorious defendant countdown, Tim Ferritter.
Even before the verdict was announced in the case against Timothy Ferritter, the stress and fear of what was about to come was apparent. His wife could not hold back tears.
We, the jury, find as follows. As to count 1, we find the defendant guilty of aggravated child abuse as charged in the information.
Jurors would go on to find Timothy Ferritter guilty of false imprisonment and neglect of a child.
Juror 1, were the verdicts as read your verdict? Juror 2, were the verdicts as read your verdicts?
Yes.
The 6-person jury found Ferritter guilty of charges related to the treatment of his adopted son.
I don't know what's going to happen to the wife. I think she's going to get... Who timed who out? I didn't time anybody out. I don't even think I know how to time people out.
Tim and Tracy routinely kept their son confined to a windowless room in their garage with a bucket for a toilet. Jurors heard from the minor child, RF, now 16 years old, about what it was like to live in that room.
Did you like being in that room? No. Did you want to be in the room?
No.
How did it make you feel?
To me, being locked in a room, it's dehumanizing. It's almost as bad as genocide. It's saddening.
The judge asked us not to show RF or his sister, FF. Both still juveniles were with murder in connection to the death of her special needs son.
When police responded to the scene, they found her 15-year-old son dead in an ice bath, severely malnourished, and also showing signs of physical abuse.
This mother actually took the stand in her own defense, emotionally testifying she didn't remember what her line of thinking was at the time. Here in her own words, our number 7 most notorious.
Your comment didn't come up. I don't. Uh-oh. Yes, I'm quite funny. I'm drugged heavily. That's why I get drugs in me.
Notorious defendant Shonda Vander Ark.
This case right here is just too. It's just too horrible to understand. It just is.
Discovered that Timothy had passed.
And once the police get there, do you tell them the truth?
I was so freaked out. I'm sorry. Honestly, I've got one. I'm sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome. Why didn't you tell them the truth? Why were you so freaked?
I don't remember what my line of thinking was at the time. I was so I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't.
Were you tired at that point?
I was exhausted. The night before he passed, I had had less than an hour of sleep.
Were you frightened at that point?
Absolutely. I just lost my son.
You need a home?
I'm okay.
Just an inhumane person. Literally, just why?
Okay. Were you expecting? Was this?
Hey, Jocelyn, how are you? Good to see you. It could be me. It could be my, I don't know. I don't think I'm on YouTube, so.
This outcome expected by you?
Absolutely not. No.
So would it be safe to say you were surprised?
I was shocked.
Were you in disbelief initially?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, where are the other people? You know, like, then again, it's probably not a good idea to, I don't know, just, these people are just terrible people.
Yes, absolutely.
We've got there's an indication that it took you a while to call the police. In fact, you told Paul not to, according to Paul's testimony. Why did it take you so long? He said 18 minutes out loud. Why did it take you so long to call the police?
I have no idea, honestly. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It was surreal. Like you don't even know what's going on. Time slowed down and I didn't know what was going on.
When was the first time you found out it took 18 minutes to call the police?
Was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, it was within the last few days.
Okay.
That's the first time.
Do you remember who was testifying when you found out? It doesn't matter.
I think we discussed it at a meeting on Monday. Was it Monday? I think so. And I heard 14 minutes initially, and then the first time I heard 18 minutes was when Paul said it yesterday.
Do you remember? How clear is your memory of your time and from the time you found Timothy and he had passed, and to the time you finished?
Defendant that you loved to hate, will they be on the list?
Our countdown for the most notorious defendants continues after this. Don't go anywhere.
Murder. She says she's the victim of a police cover-up.
It's scary just knowing that he was so close.
The high-stakes trials you don't want to miss. Coming soon. Only on Court.
These are the top 10 most notorious defendants of 2023. I figured I'd go through this since it's almost 2024 here.
TV.
Welcome back to our notorious defendants countdown. And coming in at number 6, a defendant known as the Black Widower. He was married 6 times, and 4 of those wives died.
Now, he was found guilty of killing wife number 4 and the hitman he hired to kill her back in 2017, and he received 2 death sentences. But the Nevada Supreme Court threw out those convictions.
This guy right here is just so annoying.
So we watched him go to trial again.
It played out here on Court TV. Some would say he sealed his fate when he gave this videotaped interview with police touring his house after the double murder.
Do you guys remember this one? This one, this guy here, not fooling anybody.
Let's watch more of that video now featuring our number 6 most notorious defendant, Thomas Randolph.
This door was closed. I open it up. I get right here, and Sharon's laying in the floor, face down. Her head's just barely in the bedroom with that. And I stopped.
The cops weren't buying this story either.
Right about here, had the door said, Sharon. I was going to go get a neighbor, and I took something like that.
His sixth wife.
And about right here, when I was like this, I was trying to kind of get a view. I thought I just seen like a shadow or.
Thank you for coming in, Dandy. I'll see you later. Thank you. Have a good New Year.
Or something over this way. And I remembered that there's the 9mm right up here, because earlier I'd taken all my guns, put them in a suitcase, was going to take them to Utah and switch the guns around. I reached right up here, got the gun, and as I got the gun, there's also an extra clip. There's a few up there, but I got the gun and the clip, came around just like that, and about that time, he's right up on me. Just right up on me. And we actually touched right about here. And he's short. And when I don't know if he gave me an elbow, but as we came around like that, I was kind of coming out. I was actually going to try to be.
You could just tell he's making up the story as he goes. So funny.
Slow, and look out, but it just happened too quick. We came up and he kind of banged into me about right here. And then he went over to about right here, and somewhere along here, I bit my mouth or something, trying to say something like, what the or something. And he looked kind of like, and I don't know if he was looking in here to see if there was somebody else or what. And there was a.
This is the thing. If you let these people talk to you, they'll probably end up, convicting themselves technically.
On a sweatshirt. And I don't remember if I seen the handle in the sweatshirt, if I seen the handle down his pants, but he was doing something, going for something down in here. And as we got up in here, and he kind of rushed up on me a little bit, and that's when I just pushed him, and boom, 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 and he started going out toward the shed. I don't know how many times I shot him, but I just kept right on going.
That claim in front of a second jury did not work for Thomas Randolph. Still with us to discuss, Al Wunsch III and Michelle Thomas. Thanks so much for standing by. Al, we've seen two other defendants on our list who took the stand. Thomas Randolph didn't take the stand in this retrial, but how do you think he came across in that police interview? Is he more convincing than some of the defendants we've seen so far?
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Remember this crazy moment in court of defendant Joseph Zeiler elbowing his own attorney just hours before he was sentenced to death in the cold case murders of little Robin Cornell and her babysitter, Lisa Story.
But this wasn't the only outburst by the defendant during his 3-day trial. Zeiler was seen flashing his middle finger at the cameras. He also took the stand in his own defense and called the mother of one of the victims a pig. Take a listen.
Where were you on May 9th and 10th of 1990?
I was in Maryland.
And Mr. Zeiler, you've heard experts testify in this case that they are convinced that at least one, if not all three, of the sites of semen or of other bodily fluid that were placed on the bed sheet, the pillow, and or the exterior of the young lady's genitalia was your semen. Is that possible?
No, it's not.
Judge, at this time, I have no further questions.
Mr. Zeiler, have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Asked and answered, Judge.
Overruled. Yes, I guess I was trying to send it to everybody.
The whole Batista family?
Yes.
And in that particular letter, did you profess your innocence by claiming that it was a relative of yours that did this murder?
Yes, I was trying to defend myself because no one would listen to me.
Sir, it calls for a yes or no. Did you, in the letter, profess your innocence or allege your innocence by saying that a relative of yours had done these murders?
Yes.
Did you suggest, in addition to that, did you tell?
I love these things because you see the difference in defense tactics all the time with these things, huh?
people who this letter's addressed to that you slept with Jan Cornell, Janice, and a friend of hers in 1989, and therefore that's why your DNA is in the Courtyards North condominium.
Yes, I thought so because she didn't wash her sheets.
Did you also direct this to Jan Cornell? If you knowingly allow them to convict the wrong man out of spite and vengeance, I will drag this, parentheses, and you, Robin and Lisa, through appeals all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. I wrote that.
And did you also write on the next line, I'm innocent, I will prove it, no matter how long it takes. Do you really want the rest of your life spent in court?
Yes, I wrote that.
These guys literally believe themselves. They literally believe that they're innocent. I really believe that some of these guys have it, like, etched into their brain that they didn't do this, even though they know they did.
You're threatening then Miss Cornell with what you're going to do. Should she not? What do you want her to do?
Well, she's calling me a rapist and a murderer. So what? I can't write that. I mean, she's calling me a rapist and a murderer, and I'm calling her a pig for not washing her sheets. You're all trying to convince this jury that I somehow left blonde hair in Lisa Stewart's mouth and clutched in Robin Cornell's fist, because that's the piece of paper right here that they're trying to hide from you.
Mr. Seiler.
I still see the body of 11-year-old Robin Cornell with the hand, with the hair of her killer.
The jury will step out.
The blonde
Mr.
hair of
Seiler,
her killer.
please.
Yeah, that's.
Has so many moments. Let's bring in our guest to discuss law enforcement
Let's
and
go on
litigation
to the
expert
next
Sonny
one
Slaughter
here.
is with us, and trial and family law attorney Scott Friedman. It's so good to see you both. Sonny, this was one of those trials that had moment after moment. It's a cold case. Welcome back to Court TV Live and our notorious defendants countdown. At number 4, a woman caught in a love triangle takes matters into her own hands and guns down her rival. Victim's chilling screams were recorded on security camera during her final moments.
The defendant in Mo Wilson's murder even fled the country and got plastic surgery in order to evade authorities. Then we watched her try to evade authorities again when she ran from officers in her jail stripes during a medical appointment. Our number 4 most notorious defendant, Caitlin Armstrong.
These cyclists are competing in a 150-mile race called Gravel Locos. The reason Anna Mariah Wilson was in Austin, May 11th, 2022.
After just 2 seasons, she rose to the top of both mountain and gravel racing in the nation.
She had kind of just started being at the top level, and at 25 years old, for sure, her career was just getting started.
A promising future cut short when Mo, as her friends called her, was murdered. The motive? Mo was caught in the middle of a love triangle, according to investigators. At the center of it all, pro cyclist Colin Strickland. Strickland had dated Wilson, who was in an on-again, off-again relationship with fellow.
How many people think he's involved in this? Somehow. I find it hard to believe he's not involved. I just do.
Cyclist Caitlin Armstrong. According to the arrest affidavit, Armstrong was so angry over their relationship that she wanted Wilson dead. In a statement to an Austin American-Statesman reporter, Strickland said he only dated Wilson a week or so before he and Caitlin reconciled their relationship. However, he continued to see Mo at cycling events. On the day of the murder, Strickland confirmed he and Wilson were together, swimming at a local pool and grabbing a bite to eat. Then, moments after dropping Wilson off at her friend's home, she was killed. Police say Armstrong's 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee was captured on surveillance video near the murder scene. Police questioned Armstrong, but didn't have enough to make an arrest. The very next day, Armstrong sold her Jeep for cash. and with the money flew from Austin to Houston to New York, where she was spotted on surveillance video wearing a mask, jean jacket, and carrying a yoga mat.
We're searching to find out.
Wasn't she like elusive for like 6 years or so, 4 years, three? I mean, she was gone for a while. She did quite the job eluding cops for sure.
Where did she go when she landed in New York? From that point is the unknown right now.
For 43 days, Armstrong was considered a fugitive. Her father telling Court TV he believes that she's innocent.
We would like to be left to be able to focus on Caitlin's safety and proving her innocence.
U.S. Marshals would eventually locate Armstrong staying at a hostel in Costa Rica with her sister's passport, looking very different. Armstrong was extradited back to Texas, and she pleaded not guilty to charges of first-degree murder. On October 11th, just weeks before her scheduled trial date, Armstrong tried to escape.
I just don't think he's completely innocent. I just don't. But I don't really have any evidence that he's not. So I don't know. But
Court documents show she may have been preparing to flee for months by exercising vigorously. She complained about an injury which led to a doctor's appointment outside of the jail. Armstrong had secured a medical request, allowing her to go without leg restraints. Then, while being escorted from a doctor's appointment, Armstrong broke free. Officers had to chase her for about a mile before she was recaptured. She faces an additional felony charge of escape causing bodily injury.
For the murder, Caitlin Armstrong was sentenced to 90 years in prison. And in a recent bid for her new trial in court filings, her attorneys now claim that she was pregnant around the time of her arrest and that she should have received a more lenient sentence if the jury had known she was pregnant.
Yeah, it's an interesting argument. We'll see what happens with that. Our next notorious defendant will not face trial in the U.S. because he just recently admitted his guilt. The victim's mother, Beth Twitty, waited 18 long years to find out what happened to her daughter during a high school senior trip. During that time, the main suspect went on to kill another woman in South America.
But finally, a plea deal brought the suspect back to the U.S. And as a part of that deal, a full confession. Here now, our third most notorious defendant, Joran van der Sloot.
Natalee Holloway vanished in 2005 while on a senior trip in Aruba.
2005, that seems like so long ago. My Lord, 2005.
She was last seen leaving a bar with 18-year-old Joran van der Sloot and two other men.
He knows exactly what happened. He knows what, where, when, who, why, and how.
Agreed, CJK. It's just another lowlife, just a horrible human being.
He knows the answers.
Natalee's mother, Beth, became her #1 advocate, always searching, and van der Sloot became the #1 suspect.
Still no charges against the sole remaining suspect.
Holloway's body has never been found, and
You gotta tip your hat to the prosecutors and all law enforcement that just wouldn't let this case go away, right? Because they knew who did it. They just needed to prove it.
no arrests were ever made. According to court documents, 5 years later, van der Sloot contacted Beth Holloway's attorney. He proposed that if he sent $250,000 with $25,000 up front to his bank account, he would reveal the location of Natalee's remains. Beth Holloway sent van der Sloot $100 to verify it was really his account. It was.
Who's pregnant? Caitlin Armstrong was pregnant? I didn't know that. Yes, definitely a spoiled rich kid. Definitely.
But that transaction caught the attention of her bank, and this sparked an idea. ABC's 2020 sat down with Holloway's attorney, John Q. Kelly, in 2019.
I was like, if we can ever get him to talk about this again, he's committing federal crimes and we'll have jurisdiction. I get the $10,000 cash from Beth to take down to Aruba. She has the $15,000 for the wire transfer. They wire me up. I give him a call to come over, and it was, like Christmas. He was so excited to see that money.
Beth Holloway wired $15,000 from her Regent's bank account to Joran Vandersloot's bank account. She was here in Birmingham, Alabama. She was sending money to her daughter's suspected killer, who was nearly 2,000 miles away. She was clinging to hope that this act would somehow, some way, give her the answers she so desperately needed.
I'll look into that. Karen.
To bring her daughter's remains back home. Vandersloot's story was that Natalie had died after he threw her down on the ground and she hit her head on a rock, and that his father then buried her in the foundation of a house. However, days later, he admitted that was a lie, and investigators found there was no way Natalie's remains were at that location.
What a beautiful woman, though. Like, just such a horrible. Why? You know, just that's the question everybody has is why.
Weeks later, 21-year-old Stephanie Flores was found beaten to death in Peru. Vandersloot confessed to the murder. He was arrested and sentenced to 28 years in prison. Then, in 2014, authorities announced he would be extradited to the U.S. at the end of that sentence. But a deal was struck to get Vandersloot in the United States sooner. And Beth Holloway says there will finally be justice for Natalie.
Still with us to discuss, Sunny Slaughter and Scott Friedman. Thank you both for being on and giving us your expertise. Scott, this is...
I freaking love Sunny Slaughter. She's so awesome. All right, so we'll skip ahead to the next one here. It's just sad, you know, these people, nobody asked for this, right? But I'm pretty sure they knew it was him the whole time. All right, so let's go here to this one right there.
The top 10 most notorious defendants, part of the point is to keep the victims at the forefront for all of us to remember. After the break, some true crime headlines and our top 2 defendants of 2023. But first, someone who fell just outside of our list.
Do you remember her? Megan Morowitz. She was found guilty of killing her dad by throwing drain cleaner on him. Today, she's out of prison serving out her probation.
I was so confused. I couldn't even know what was happening. And then my brother's like yelling at me saying, I did it. I didn't do it. When I left, he was perfectly fine. I would never intentionally hurt my dad. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm against violence. And my dad's like my best friend.
This is a weird case here, the Mirowitz case.
We are moving closer to trial in the case against Doomsday Prophet Chad Daybell.
Prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty against him.
Investigators have recovered human remains at Chad Daybell's residence.
There's no way, Morgan. I can never go up with this.
His wife, Lori Vallow Daybell, has already been convicted.
Now, will her husband end up with the same fate?
It's just so hard to know where the truth ends.
It's the Doomsday Prophet, Chad Daybell, on trial. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcott, along with Julia Janae, bringing you our countdown of the 10 most notorious defendants. But before we return to that countdown, let's bring you several major news stories. First, in Missouri, we have obtained new photos of Gypsy Rose Blanchard after she was released from prison yesterday. Blanchard was found guilty of orchestrating her own mother's death in 2015 after suffering one of the highest profile cases of Munchausen by proxy. That is now referred to as FIC.
Good night, Marv. I hope you have a great new year, and I can't wait to see your new page, your new stuff. I'm almost out of here too. I'm going to finish this up and then skedaddle.
Disorder.
And we have some breaking news that's developing in the murders of a pregnant teenager and her boyfriend happening in San Antonio. Police released.
So this was done 10 hours ago, so this is fairly new here.
This surveillance video, and they say they're searching.
Look at the size of this guy. I mean, I don't think it's going to be hard to find this guy.
For 2 persons of interest. The couple's Kia Optima slowly approaches another pickup truck and briefly interacts with the driver. You see it circled there. Someone gets out of the Kia, but it's unclear where they go. The Kia then leaves the scene. Savannah Soto, her unborn baby, and her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, were found shot to death in a parked vehicle earlier this week. We'll pass along any updates as they come in.
That's a drug deal right there. He throws what they gave him into the truck and he takes off. That's a drug deal.
This case.
Yeah, coming in now as we return to our countdown. At number 2, a candidate for, or perhaps the worst mother of the decade.
Hey, Miss Persevere, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, this lady here, Lori Vallow, nuts. They're all nuts. All crazy people.
She allegedly killed her 4th husband, then murdered her own 2 children and ran off with a doomsday prophet without a care in the world.
Did we mention she also helped orchestrate the murder of her new man's wife and then married him, all while looking camera ready? Introducing our second most notorious.
How can you smile? You know, like, how can you smile? It's just weird.
Defendant, the one and only doomsday cult mom, Lori Vallow Daybell.
We did respond to an unattended death at the Daybell home in southern part of Fremont County, Salem Highway.
Just persevere. We're just going down the top 10 most notorious defendants of 2023. Just this woman here is nuts.
And Tammy Daybell was deceased at that time.
Just over 2 weeks after the death of his wife, Chad Daybell remarries his new wife, Lori Vallow. The two exchange vows in Hawaii. Family members report that they have not heard from J.J. Vallow in months. On November 26th, police conduct a welfare check at Lori's Rexburg townhome.
And that was when Rexburg was looking for the kids, and Lori told them that the kids were, or that the son, the 7-year-old, was in Arizona with family, which wasn't true.
November 27th, police determined JJ is not in Arizona.
Y'all tell us where the kids are. Lori, Chad, tell us where the kids are.
Authorities arrive at Lori's townhome in Rexburg, and the Daybells are gone. December 1st, Chad and
Yeah, I knew she'd be on the list somewhere. He'll be next year.
Lori board an American Airlines flight to Hawaii without the children. December 11th, Tammy Daybell's body is exhumed from a Utah grave for further investigation.
We got a court order in December and had Tammy's body exhumed, and an autopsy was performed by the medical examiner in Utah.
The following day, Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, dies in Arizona under mysterious circumstances.
I have a older male here named Alex. He just passed out here on my bathroom.
Okay, is he awake right now?
I think he's passed out.
Okay, you think he's unconscious?
Yes.
December 20th, Rexburg police in Idaho announced the search for Tylee and JJ to the public. January 26th, police stopped Chad and Lori at the Kauai Beach Resort.
Can you tell me where your kids are? Where are your kids? No comment? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
Authorities seized the couple's car and searched their rental home. On February 3rd, EastIdahoNews.com visits Lori's abandoned Rexburg storage unit. They find children's toys, clothing, and photo albums full of baby pictures of Tylee and JJ.
But one would imagine that you would want those items with
Oh my God, it's just horrible.
you. You know, these are baby photos from when your child's 3 or 4 days old.
On February 20th, Lori Vallow is arrested on a warrant. She is charged with 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of dependent children. Bond is set at $5 million. After just 6 days.
Every time I see her, she's smiling. It's just like, how can you smile? It's just, nobody wants to see that.
Days in a Hawaii jail, Lori Vallow waives her right to fight extradition to Idaho. Lori Vallow is then extradited and appears for the first time in an Idaho court.
Counsel for defense, in the court pleadings, it designates Miss Vallow, aka Miss Daybell. How would your client like to be referred to by the court?
Mrs. Daybell, please, Your Honor.
And then, on June 9th, 2020, Idaho police, along with the FBI, serve a search warrant on the property of Chad Daybell in Salem, Idaho. Officials announce human remains discovered in the backyard. Chad Daybell is taken into custody and charged with 2 felony counts of concealment, distribution, or alteration of evidence. The next day, family members announce that their worst fears had come true.
And the mother you love to hate. It makes no sense to me. Let's bring back in Sonny Slaughter, Scott Friedman. Let me start with you, please, Sonny. I don't get it, right? Like, she does look beautiful. She's in Hawaii. She looks like she doesn't have a care in the world. And then we learn that her own children had been murdered. She's sinister. She's evil. She sits at the desk with the defense desk with a weird smile on her face all during her trial. What do you make of Lori Vallow Daybell?
You know, Judge, I'm a mom, and this is one of the most dangerous women that I have ever seen, because she was calculating. She was very cold and
She actually looks like one of my old barbers that I used to go to.
disconnected from her own children in a manner in which, you know, they died, that she may have participated. I don't know. This glamour girl is definitely a murder. She has murderous intent, and she really committed.
If you watch Gazella, Sonny Justice is always on Gazella.
The most heinous crime that I think a parent, a mother, a woman could commit, and that is participating in the.
Yeah, I don't go to like Supercuts. I always go to barbers. They're much better. Probably too much information there.
The death of her own children.
Sick story, sick as love story, because that's what they were portraying that this was. They wanted to be together, felt like this was ordained, heaven ordained. Scott, I want to ask you about what we still want to hear from Lori Vallow. We haven't heard as much as I think there could be to hear. We hear those moments of her denying it leading up to this. Never really had the chance to hear this long interrogation.
Oh, this woman is such a bitch. Oh my God. Oh.
Of Lori Vallow Daybell, or her trying to clear her name in one way or the other. Let's actually listen to a bit of her talking and talk about it on the other side.
I have a different perspective in life, because in 2002, when I was pregnant with Tylee, I died in the hospital while in labor with her. They tried to stop my labor. They put me on the table and they put something in my IV, and I felt my spirit falling to the floor. I was standing near my pregnant body, watching the doctors try to
No, lady, you're just nuts.
revive me, which took them a few minutes. In that time, my sister Stacy was standing to my left. I turned to hug her and was surprised that her spirit was as tangible as a physical body, because I knew I was in spirit and she was in spirit. She said she needed to show me some things, and we went to heaven. I later returned to my body. Because of this experience, I have access to heaven and the spirit world.
Scott, is there any nugget that she can provide? Anything left for her to say that she could admit that you think the families, the victim families, most importantly, but even the public who've been watching this trial, that it could move the needle?
No.
Well, first of all, that explanation that you just played, I don't understand what that explanation.
Special guest joins us as we hit #1 on our list of most notorious defendants. This one was a fan favorite. Stay tuned. It's right on the other side of this very short break.
You're in a court of law, okay? I don't know if I'd bring that shit up, right? I mean, ugh.
Did you kill Maggie? No. Did I kill my wife?
How did I know Alex Murdaugh was going to be #1? How did I know that? This guy just won't go away.
Yes, sir. No, David. Do you know who did? No, I do not know who did. Did you kill Paul? No, I did not kill Paul. Do you know who did? No, sir, I do not know who did.
And the funny thing about this guy here is I don't think he would have been guilty if he didn't take the stand and put himself in his own trap lie, then he probably would have gotten away with it.
There he was. It took just 3 hours for a jury to find our most notorious defendant of 2023 guilty.
Brooks, it's a house. Hey, Charlotte, how are you?
In the 2021 murders of his own wife and son.
The case that gained intense national attention as new revelations about the defendant's family dismantled a legacy of 3 generations of prosecutors, all hailing from the low country of South Carolina.
Coming in at
I know, that's what I mean. This guy just won't go away. You know, you thought finally 7 weeks of trial, they finally put his ass in jail, and this clerk of court just decides she wants to get a book deal and screw with the case. So, yep, he's going to get another trial, and he's just not going to go away ever.
number 1 of the year's most notorious defendants, disgraced attorney Alec Murdaugh.
On June 7th, 2021, did you take this gun or any gun like it and shoot your son Paul in the chest in the feed room at your property off Moselle Road?
No, I did not. Mr. Griffin, I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime. Ever. Me and my boys laid face down. And he's done the way he's done. His head was the way his head was. I can see his brain laying on the sidewalk.
This guy is such a piece of shit.
I didn't know what to do.
Why did you go back to the house to get a gun?
I just didn't know. I didn't know. I mean,
just let me ask you, did you get on your shirt high velocity blood spatter from being within a distance of a shooting Maggie or Paul?
there's no way that I had high velocity blood spatter on me.
Just to be clear, were you anywhere in the vicinity when Paul and Maggie were shot?
I was nowhere near Paul and Maggie when they got shot.
Tell us, jury, about Maggie and your relationship.
Didn't they have some new information coming out about the other guy too, the other kid too that was killed? I thought I heard there was some more information about him. Mr. Steve did a great job on this whole case.
With her.
You know, she was such a lady. She might not have worked, but I promise you, she worked. And she worked to make sure me and Paul and Buster had everything.
Will you tell the jury about Paul, please, and your relationship with him?
He had a side to him that was just so sweet. He cared about people. He was fiercely loyal.
Did you kill Maggie?
No, I did not kill Maggie. I did not kill Paul. I would never hurt Maggie, and I would never hurt Paul. Ever. Under any circumstances.
Joining us now as a special guest is someone who is very familiar not only to us here at Court TV, but anyone talking about this trial. He represented the family of Murdaugh's former housekeeper, and even now some of the jurors from Murdaugh's murder trial. Attorney Eric Bland is with us. Eric, it's good to see you. I want to ask you about this trial being our number one. Tell me, what made this trial so different? There are double shootings. There are tragic domestic cases. But there was something about this, Eric, that seemed to just capture the nation's attention. What do you think that was?
Well, it not only captured the nation's attention, it captured the world. And that is because it concerned power and privilege, the abuse of that power. Look, Alex is going to be on the Mount Rushmore of career criminals. He's a double murderer. He's a money launderer. He's a conspirator. He stole from clients. So it had all of these different things about a powerful law firm, a powerful family that controlled the solicitor's office for over 100 years in Hampton, South Carolina. It concerned 16 years of millions of dollars, over $10 million of theft by Alex from his clients. And I just think the whole setting of like a Pat Conroy novel in the low country of South Carolina mixed with this John Grisham type of wild criminality created such an interest throughout the world in this case. And look, it's a distinguished honor that Alex got #1 on your list. I mean, it is what it is. It's just something that I don't think we'll see ever again.
I don't
I
either.
hope we don't.
Right. I hope we don't too. But great points. And Eric, of course, thank you for joining us. But Pat Conroy, that's exactly what I said as I was watching it unfold. And here's my question for you. We know your representation of different parties means that you knew a lot of the facts that you expected to come out at trial. But as you were watching this trial, how did you react emotionally inside as the trial was unfolding and more evidence was coming out against Alec Murdaugh?
Well, I was always pro-prosecution from the start of the trial because I was privy to a lot of the evidence in working with the prosecution on the financial crimes cases. And I really thought that the financial crimes evidence was overwhelming.
Good for you, CJK. That's awesome.
Also then learned about the kennel video and the Snapchat video, and then all the things that happened after 10:06 p.m. when he arrived home and saw Maggie and Paul. That, you know, he didn't hug them and scream to the skies, what happened to my family, you know.
I hate to say this, but you're just hoping somebody gets to this guy in prison, right? You're just all right, so let's get out of here. I got a couple more things I'm going to share, and then I'm going to get out of here too. I just want to thank everybody for coming in because it's, you know, early Saturday morning. So I want to do this here. I want to go to this because this is the latest. I was trying to find this earlier. Let's go to this here. This was done 59 minutes ago, and this was NBC News. So let's play this. This is regarding the murder of the pregnant. Oh, no, I don't want that. Hold on a second. Right here.
Find the two people seen in new video release.
Make sure I'm sharing that because I'd love to not do that. Right. So this is in regards to the pregnant Texas teen and her boyfriend.
Hoping that someone is able to identify the individuals that are seen in this video.
The San Antonio Police Department putting out a plea for the public's help to find the two people seen in new video released today. Detectives believe they could.
See, watch this. He's going to reach into grab this guy. He's going to give this guy money, grab what's in this guy's hand right here, probably, and then throw it into the truck and then get out of here.
Be involved in Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra's deaths.
Detectives are hopeful that surveillance video will lead to the events leading up to their death.
Police believe Savannah and Matthew were already dead when this video was taken. They think the two people seen in the footage wiped the car down to get rid of fingerprints before ditching it with Savannah and Matthew's bodies inside.
Detectives are also combing through social media and cell phone records to determine the last communications with the victims.
The relationship between these persons of interest and victims is still unclear. Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez says when the people responsible are captured, the nature of the crime can result in additional charges because of the young couple's unborn son, Fabian.
Under Texas law, that qualifies an unborn child during any period of gestation is a person under the Texas Penal Code for consideration in deciding whether or not to calculate, for example, more than one person.
District Attorney Gonzalez also hoping these people are found so his office can bring justice for the victims and their families.
That we're going to do everything humanly possible to hold this individual or individuals accountable.
Stephanie Esquivel, News 4, San Antonio.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
So that's the end of that. This is another one here. This is the one, I think.
There isn't a dry eye at this Northwest Side apartment complex.
It's a Merry Christmas, but it's not too merry for us right now.
Emotions are raw as several look in the direction of Savannah Soto's apartment. Everyone here, including her grandmother Rachel, hoping for any clue on her location.
We're entitled to know something about her. We love her, we miss her, whatever's going on.
It's just horribly sad. You know, it just sucks. I hope that they find this person who's responsible for this and give them everything that they can give them, you know. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. Many of you know I lost my brother this week, actually Christmas Day. He'll be missed for sure. Very good friend of mine. But I just want you all to have a great holiday, great New Year. I hope everybody stays safe, gets good and liquored. If you get liquored, if you don't, that's fine too. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. Charlotte, Karen, of course, Hybrid Pisces. I didn't see necessarily evil in here tonight. CJK, thank you for coming in. Charlotte, Miss Persevere was in here. Thank you. Marv was in here. Jocelyn's awesome. Who else? If I miss anybody, I'm sorry. Dean Johnson was in here. Thank you, Dean, for coming in. Appreciate it. Let's see here. I said Karen already. I hope everybody's doing well. Who else? I think that's it. Oh, Dandy Linus was in here. Mecky was in here. I haven't seen Mecky around. Miracle Hearts was in here. Heather Brown was in here. Thank you, Heather, for coming in. I think that's it. Scrolling up here to see Dandy Linus. Did I say that already? Probably. But if I missed anybody, like I said, I'm sorry about that. It's just, and I'll see you guys all later. Everybody have a great rest of the weekend. And I'll see you all later.